So I'm a 22-year-old with no money, no girlfriend, and I'm sick and tired of living like this. So in this video, I'm pretty much going to just give you guys the rundown on how this all started and what caused all of this to happen. So I'm going to just get right into it. I'm going to just start off with the no money part. So for context, pretty much right now, just working a dead end retail job that doesn't pay nothing. The only thing that you get paid is, chump change, a pathetic poverty wage. You don't make enough money to actually be able to live a good, enjoyable life. It's not sustainable. I don't care what your situation is. Making making minimum wage is not a sustainable income. You cannot live off of that. You cannot, afford to live a decent, not even a decent lifestyle off of minimum wage. So again, I work a dead end retail job, don't make enough money at all. And on top of that, you have a terrible job market that's getting more and more competitive as time goes on. You know, Now this video is not really about the job market, but it goes hand in hand with, working a dead end job because nowadays, for those of you guys who are actually paying attention to the state of this job market, and especially for those of you guys who are currently unemployed and looking for a job, you know that this job market is actually the worst that it's ever been. And it's getting more and more competitive. And the most difficult types of jobs to get as of right now are the jobs that actually pay you a really good salary. You know, Anything that pays you really well, especially like, for whatever the cost of living is in your area, regardless, those types of jobs are the most difficult to obtain right now at this moment. But anyways, so yeah, I work a dead end job. Literally, currently, I'm not gonna say exactly where I'm working, um, for multiple different reasons. I'm not gonna say that, but it's a dead end retail job. It's miserable. It sucks. Um, and it's just waking up every single day, or most days of the week at least, waking up most days of the week just to go to a dead end job that you hate, that doesn't pay you enough, while you know that the company makes billions of dollars a year, is one of the most demoralizing feelings ever. And a lot of people can relate to that. Most of us are not making enough money to actually live an enjoyable life. That's just the reality of the situation for most people, including myself. So, yeah. And the thing is, right, I really did this to myself. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I didn't make some like really big mistakes that impacted my life in an extremely negative way. Like I used to go to college. I was going to college. This was back in, so I started going fall of 2022. I had a good semester during that fall, of 2022. And then the spring of 2023 was when I completely went downhill. So what had happened was, so during that time, I was actually making some really good money off of Instagram. They had a program called Instagram Reels bonuses. And basically, all we had to do was simply just post videos on Instagram. And depending on the number of views that we would get paid off of that. So, like, let me just give you guys an example. So we used to get paid like $100 per like 1 million views, right? And during the time, it was so easy to get to get reels to go viral. So what I was doing was I was simply reposting like funny like meme content that was going viral, and I was simply reposting it, giving the pages credit, whatever. And it got to a point where those videos were going so viral that I started making like thousands of dollars a month off of it. Like the most I had made in a month was like $6,000. And keep in mind, that was combining my main account and my other like backup accounts. Like they all had that Reels bonus program available on every single one of those accounts. So, I was stacking that money, saved up most of it, And during that time of spring of 2023, you guys are probably wondering, like, what happened, how did it all go downhill? So what had happened was, during that time, like the low IQ person that I am, I convinced myself that I would be able to, rely on this income, not realizing that it's not a good idea, and that it's not. So social media income is extremely unpredictable. Extremely unpredictable. You never know when they can take it away from you. You never know if you're going to get censored. You never know if the company's just going to be like, you know what, we're not going to do this program anymore and pay our, these Instagram accounts anymore. So that's exactly what had happened, right? So I deluded myself into thinking, oh, I could, rely on this as, like a long-term source of income, because I was making really good money just off of posting videos, more than what I would make in like 6 months of working, a typical retail job. Not even 6 months, more like 4 months actually, but you get the point, right? Um, I was at a point where I started making way more money than I was working a dead end retail job. Like literally, what I had made in the most that I had made in 1 month was like 6 times, 5 to 6 times what I'd make in a month of working a dead end retail job. So that's why I had, deluded myself into thinking like, oh, I can just rely on this long term, and, all this foolish stuff. And then I ended up having a bad semester during that spring of 2023. I failed out of college, and I was also, during the time, I remember I was also doing like DoorDash, like full time, just, for extra income. But that's the biggest mistake that I've ever made in my life so far, deluding myself into thinking I can rely on social media, not understanding how unpredictable it is when it comes to, making money off of it. Like, you never know when they can just take it away from you. And that's what happened. They took the program away. They said, we're not going to do this anymore. And then boom, I stopped making money off of it because they took it away. And they were like, yeah, but it's not really profitable for our company. And even though, they make billions a year themselves, right? Yeah, it's not profitable for our company, so we have to switch up the program. And now that program is a complete joke. Like, they only pay you for photos. You get paid way less than what you used to. And now you just get paid chump change just off of what engagement you get with photos, So now it's a complete joke, and you can't really, make the type of profits that you used to be able to, for my, like, people like myself and all the other people that used to have it as well. So yeah, failed out of college spring of 2023 because I convinced myself that I can just rely on this. Oh, I'm making all this money off of Instagram. I don't need to do this college stuff anymore. And I'm doing DoorDash on the side full time, so I'm making this extra income, so I don't need to really do it anymore. And then later on, I realized really fast that that was a terrible mistake. And now I'm in a situation where I'm stuck at a dead-end job that I hate. I also have no girlfriend, no girlfriend, never had a girlfriend too. Let me make that clear. Never have had a girlfriend. Never have even had sex either. So 22-year-old, no girlfriend, no virgin, no money, dead-end retail job that makes me feel extremely miserable. My life sucks. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. And I tried to actually go back to that college that I failed out of recently for this spring of 2026. I tried to go back. I did everything I could to, I enrolled for classes. I tried to apply for financial aid and everything like that. I went in person to get everything figured out, do what I had to do. And then they told me that I wouldn't be able to receive any financial aid because what had happened was I didn't meet what was called SAP requirements. So just because I had that one bad semester, that meant that I wasn't able to receive financial aid from that university. So right now, my only choice is to go to a different university and, try to get back on track because I messed up big time. And now that I've realized, I had to find out the hard way, of course, you know, now that I've realized that I don't really have a choice, I either have to, get pursue a profitable field of study in college or do a trade. And the only reason I'm not doing the trade route is because I don't like, the physically deteriorating labor. That's why I have major respect for people that do trades. It's really hard on the body. It's really, it's really tough on your body, really, really bad for your body. But yeah, it's just not for me because of that aspect. So yeah, my plan right now, go back to college. Um, and also like back then I was even like approaching women as well, shooting my shot. I only did that like a few times, though it wasn't really like a very frequent thing. But of course they were all rejections, of course, just as I knew it was going to be. Um, but I was, at the time during the fall, I was well on track to doing good. But then the spring, everything just collapsed because of that. I deluded myself. And the no girlfriend part, right? I already told you guys about the no money thing, the no girlfriend part. When you work a dead end retail job, you don't make enough money to even be able to take care of yourself. You don't make enough money to even be able to live on your own. And definitely you're not even making close to enough to even be able to take care of an entire family. So, and women know that, right? Like, let's be dead serious right now. Women know, like, if you're somebody like myself working a dead end retail job, you know, they know, like, oh, you're not going to be making enough money to, take care of a family. You're not going to be making enough money to, be able to live an enjoyable life. You're not going to be making enough money to where after you pay off your bills, you're going to have a good amount of savings left, even after the fact of paying off your bills. You're not going to have enough money to be able to just survive without struggling nonstop. It's a hamster wheel. It's like being on a hamster wheel nonstop, a never-ending cycle. The companies make billions a year, but yet they pay you chump change. They pay you the pennies, the scraps. So yeah, it's just terrible, and hopefully, if I can get accepted in the next college, the other college that I'm planning on going to, and hopefully, picking back up from where I left off from the last college where I made that terrible mistake. Hopefully everything goes well and everything, and hopefully it works out. A big part of my plan is to actually get back to approaching women again, and just get back on track with like the career stuff, getting everything done that I need to. That's also another thing too. Like when I was at that old college in 2023, there was actually some assignments I was confused about, and I actually didn't even bother to go out of my way to get help with those assignments because, like I said, I was so like in this mindset of, oh, I'm making all this money on social media, so I don't need to take this seriously. And then later on, I found out that was a terrible mistake. And now I'm back at square one trying to figure out what I'm going to do to turn my life back around because the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. The time is going by so fast. I still can't even believe it's already 2026. We're almost at 2030. It's just a few years away. And you got the job market getting impacted by AI and all this stuff, right? That's making it more difficult to land a profitable career. I mean, it's ridiculous. We have all these economic issues taking place right now. And I can't believe I did this to myself. I mean, I don't even know what to say, Like, I don't really have a choice. I'd have to go back to college. because if I don't, I'm going to just be stuck at a dead end poverty wage job for the rest of my life, and I don't want that. So yeah, aside from that, I'm sick of the no girlfriend thing as well. You know, let's be honest, for the men out there, right? Living, living a life where you can't have true love with the right woman is one of the most gut-wrenching feelings ever. Along with all of the, dead end job stuff, not making enough money, because I would actually say that's the number one thing for me, not making enough money to where you can actually enjoy your life. You have to be in this constant state of hamster wheel and survival mode. And, you have to always worry about, the real possibility of getting evicted because, you're not making enough money to keep up with your rent, your electricity, and, your groceries and all this stuff. You have to decide whether you're going to pay rent or, pay for your electricity and all this stuff. That's arguably a lot worse. I would 100% say that that's way worse than the no girlfriend thing. But again, not being able to have true love is one of the worst feelings as a man, because biologically, humans, men and women, we're hardwired to have connections with each other, And when you're not able to connect with the opposite sex, deep down, it just gives you this feeling of like unfulfillment, and just this feeling of like it doesn't feel right to just live like this, because we are biologically hardwired to be able to experience true love with the right person. So yeah, that's one of those things that have been eating away at my soul for like several years. um yeah, I just don't know what to do other than, go back and get it all done, go back to college, hopefully get back on track, get back to approaching women again. um but then again, when it comes to approaching women, you have to worry about, the possibility of getting falsely accused of harassment and all this nonsense, right? So you also have like a movement of men out there that are like, oh, I'm not even going to bother to do it anymore because I don't want to be, falsely accused. But the thing is, most women are not going to falsely accuse you of harassment. Let's be honest. Like, do you really think that when you go out in public that the majority of women are going to be like, ew, he's just harassing me? Like, that's not the majority of women. Like, you're talking about a small portion that are just toxic, that just want to, get you in trouble, right? As much as possible. But that's not the majority of women. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it is. So, yeah, you guys let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments. Um, I've just been stressing. I've been stressing over the past few years about this stuff. It's terrible. Every single day, I'm just thinking about like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? Like, the job market's getting worse. The dating market's getting worse. It's all getting more competitive and more difficult to be successful in. You know, good luck even finding, good luck even finding a good job in today's world. I mean, I'm hearing about so many, people in college right now that are struggling, to even land a profitable career in their field, despite doing all, being on top of their assignments, networking and stuff. The job market is extremely difficult to be successful in as we speak. Everybody who's job searching right now knows that. You got fast food restaurants getting picky about who to hire in 2026. It's that bad. But again, it's the worst when it comes to the jobs that pay the best. Those are the most difficult ones that the majority of people are competing for. So I thank you guys for watching this video. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you guys have any other ideas, suggestions, or whatever. Yeah, I'm just sick of living like this, and I'm genuinely convinced that I don't have a future because of the fact that I mean, look at the time we're living in right now. Like, the job market's getting more difficult by the day. The dating market is getting more difficult. It's harder and harder to find a good woman because either most of them are taken or they're not going to be interested in you based off of your socioeconomical status and where you're at in life. And that's actually the number one reason why I think that I haven't been seeing any success from all the other times that I have approached women. Um, it's just terrible. It's rough, you know. And if you're not a guy that can provide value to people's lives, if you're not making enough money, if you're not, if your confidence and your physique and everything like that, your confidence, your physique, your financial status, the value you have to provide, if those things are not on point for you as a man, good luck finding a good woman, bro, because it's rough. It's rough. Seriously. But you guys let me know what you think in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching this video. Let me know if you have any thoughts, suggestions, or whatever. I'm out.